Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I'll be talking about concentration and dilution of urine. Why is it necessary to excrete a concentrated urine? The reason is to save water and thus control extracellular fluid volume during a condition of dehydration. And why is it necessary to excrete a dilute urine? Obviously to remove excess water or fluid overload from the body during hyperhydration. And generally, concentration and dilution of urine is important to regulate water and solid levels of the extracellular fluid volume. Causes of dehydration and overhydration induce concentrated or dilute urine, respectively. Dehydration results in producing concentrated urine, and overhydration results in production of dilute urine. Mechanisms of concentration and dilution of urine. Three important mechanisms are involved in the concentration and dilution of urine: the counter current multiplier and the counter current exchanger that produce hyperosmolar medullary interstitium, the presence and absence of antidiuretic hormone, and the importance of urea in increasing the osmolality of medullary interstitium. So the counter current mechanisms: the counter current multiplier and counter current exchanger, the hormone, antidiuretic hormone, and urea are responsible for concentration and dilution of the urine. The counter current mechanisms. Counter current multiplier occurs at loop of Henle. So here, solid concentration keeps on increasing in the tubules and forms hyperosmolar concentration in the loop of Henle, about 1200 milliosmoles per liter. And counter current exchanger occurs by vasa recta. These are capillaries that supply blood to the juxtamedullary nephrons, mainly to the loop of Henle of the juxtamedullary nephrons. So the counter current exchanger prevents washout of solids or salts from the medullary interstitium, thereby maintaining the hyperosmolar environment intact in the medullary interstitium. So here, the counter current multiplier produces hyperosmolar medullary interstitium, and the counter current exchanger preserves the hyperosmolarity. So the counter current system is a system in which inflow runs parallel and in proximity, but opposite to the outflow. It produces a hyperosmotic renal medullary interstitium. The end result of the counter current system is producing hyperosmotic medullary interstitium. As you can see it here, this is the loop of Henle, the descending segment and the ascending segment. So counter current multiplier system occurs here in the loop of Henle, and this shows the flow of fluid in the vasa recta. So this is the descending segment, the descending portion of the vasa recta, and this is the ascending portion of vasa recta. So fluid flow here runs in parallel. They run in parallel, but in opposite direction. So counter current exchanger system occurs here by the vasa recta. Now, the counter current multiplier. The descending tubule is permeable only to water, but not to solids. And the ascending thick tubule is only permeable to solids like sodium, chloride, potassium, and other solids, but it is impermeable to water. Now the result of counter current multiplier is the net result of the counter current multiplier system is to produce hyperosmotic interstitial fluid in the medulla. The longer the loop of Henle is, the greater the countercurrent multiplication effect and more concentrated urine is produced. Desert animals have longer loop of Henle as adaptive mechanism, so their ability to concentrate urine is also greater. Yeah, this diagram shows the flow of fluid and current in the loop of Henle. So the descending segment of loop of Henle is permeable only to water. Water is transported from the lumen to the interstitium, but the ascending, the thick segment of loop of Henle is permeable only to solids like sodium chloride. So sodium moves from the lumen of the ascending loop of Henle to the interstitium. Now, as more solids are being transported from the lumen to the interstitium, now the osmolality in the medullary interstitium increases from 300 milliosmoles at the proximal convoluted tubule to 1200 milliosmoles at the bottom of the loop of Henle, and this system is called countercurrent multiplier. And this diagram shows the flow in the vasa recta, the so-called countercurrent exchanger. This is here, the diagram is inverted, but the actual flow of fluid in the vasa recta is towards this direction. This one is the descending and this one is the ascending. So here it is inverted. In the descending vasa recta, solid that came from the thick ascending loop of Henle enters to the descending vasa recta, so it continues here, and in the ascending vasa recta, solid leaves the vasa recta and it enters to the interstitium. And water here, water that came from the descending loop of Henle, mainly from the descending loop of Henle, enters to this one, to the ascending segment of vasa recta, and water leaves from the descending vasa recta here, from this to the interstitium. This is to maintain the osmotic balance. Osmolality is always this, the fluid medium in the interstitium and in the capillaries is always in isosmotic condition. So there is flow of solids and water to maintain osmotic balance. So the countercurrent exchange in vasa recta preserves hyperosmolarity of the renal medulla, recycling of sodium chloride in the medulla. Sodium chloride and urea diffuse out of the ascending limb and they enter to the descending limb. And water diffuses out of the descending limb and it enters to the ascending limb. Vasa recta are capillaries that nourish and supply oxygen to the tubular medulla. So here is sodium chloride and urea. So they leave the ascending vasa recta and they enter to the descending vasa recta. And water enters to the ascending vasa recta and it leaves the descending vasa recta and it enters to the interstitium. So the main importance of countercurrent exchanger is to preserve or to maintain hyperosmotic medullary interstitium that is produced by the countercurrent multiplier system. Now the effect of antidiuretic hormone on the distal tubule and the collecting ducts. ADH receptors are located on the distal convoluted tubules and the collecting ducts. So in the absence of ADH, there is no reabsorption of water and large volume of dilute urine is produced. And in the presence of ADH binds its receptors on the distal convoluted tubules and the collecting system, and it increases reabsorption of water. Now the urine produced becomes concentrated and small in volume. So ADH plays vital role in concentrating the urine. But in the absence of ADH, the urine produced is dilute. And the mechanism of action is ADH is protein hormone, so it cannot cross the plasma membrane and it binds its receptors that are found on the surface of the tubular cells. So V2 receptors are found on the basolateral side of the tubular cells. So when ADH binds its receptors, V2 receptors, it uses second messenger system. So the cyclic AMP is the second messenger system here, and it causes exocytosis of the vesicles. So aquaporin 2 water channels or water pores are pulled to the luminal side. They become open and they easily reabsorb water from the lumen to the tubular cells. There are 4 types of water channels or aquaporins: aquaporin 1, 2, 3, and 4. Aquaporin 1 are located on the proximal tubule and the thin descending lip, and they are suited for reabsorption of water by osmosis. Aquaporin 2 are located on the basolateral membrane on the collecting duct, apical membrane, and subapical vesicles, and this is regulated by vasopressin. Aquaporin 3 are located on the collecting duct, basolateral membrane, and aquaporin 4 are located in the inner medullary collecting duct, basolateral membrane. So the whole purpose of these channels is to transport water by osmosis. Urea, the other important thing for controlling or for regulating urine concentration and dilution is urea. So urea increases osmolarity of medullary interstitium. The hyperosmolarity of the medullary interstitium is not only due to sodium chloride and potassium, but also due to urea. As we know, urea is waste product, but it's not completely excreted in the urine. Urea is transported by facilitated diffusion from the papillary duct down its concentration gradient. It accumulates in the medulla and it causes hyperosmolar environment. So a high protein diet increases the ability of the kidneys to concentrate urine, because urea is byproduct of protein metabolism. So urea is filtered here, so it enters to the tubular structures of the nephron. As you can see it here, it is reabsorbed in the papillary duct by facilitated diffusion to the medullary interstitium. So it increases the osmolarity of the fluid in the medullary interstitium, and this results in osmosis of water from the collecting system to the interstitium. So urea contributes for the concentration of the urine produced here. This diagram shows how urea recycles in the kidney tubules. Here the urea enters as filtrate to the tubular structures of the nephron, So 15% of it is reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule, and 50% of it continues here, and it is reabsorbed in the papillary duct to the interstitium, and it is secreted here at the hairpin of the lobe of Henle to the lumen. So the concentration of or the amount of urea here in the proximal convoluted tubule is equal with urea concentration in the distal convoluted tubule. So only 20% is excreted in the urine. Diabetes mellitus is clinically correlated associated with antidiuretic hormone. There are two types of diabetes insipidus: central diabetes insipidus and the peripheral or the nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Central diabetes insipidus is caused by low ADH secretion from the hypothalamus, and this can be caused by brain injury or congenital anomalies. And nephrogenic or kidney induced diabetes insipidus is caused when the distal tubule and the collecting tubules receptors are not responding to antidiuretic hormone. Stimulation of ADH on collecting duct cells. Because ADH is a hormone that moves within the blood, its receptors, V2 receptors, are found on the basolateral side of the epithelial cells of the collecting duct. So stimulation with increased ADH causes aquaporin 2 to move to the luminal side, and they allow water entry. Thanks for watching.